In this tutorial, you will learn how you can show score in UI. As you can see, okay, the player progress, and when I die, you can see the score has been stopped right there. So we will make it, okay. So without further delay, let's dive into this topic. Make the high score. Create a separate script. Go to assets, right click, create C# script. Okay, name it to something like high score management or something like that. I already made it, so I have over here, and attach that script to any game object, or you can create a empty game object. So let's create that. Go to hierarchy, right click, or hit this plus icon. Let's create an empty game object. Let's name that as the name of script, which is high score management. Okay, high score management, and go to transform of that game object, right click and reset the transform. I'm going to drag this high score management top in hierarchy so we can see it, and select that script, high score management script, drag it to add component section, and double click that to open up in Visual Studio. Okay, open that up Visual Studio. So we can see we have start and update function. Let's remove this start function, we don't need it. Also these two namespaces in the top, we don't need it for now. Okay, instead what we will do, we will create a score counter. Okay, so let's make a, sorry, it's just going past by a massive car vehicle. Okay, so we will create a public float, make it public so we can set in inspector. Let's call this one to be score. Okay, and by default you can set it to 0. Let's set it to 0f. Okay, when the game start, or when we start the game, we will have 0 score. That's why we set it to 0. Okay, and we will move to update function. Okay, update function, we will add up. Okay, score plus equal something like 1. Okay, something like 1, okay, and close that up with semicolon. Control S to save your code. Let's go to Unity. Okay, in high score management script, okay, in high score management script, in score field we will able to see our score. By default it will be 0, but when we start the game, as you can see, we adding each frame. We know update function runs every single frame, so every single frame we adding this one unit. Okay, so it will add up something like 60 into 60. It will quickly add up some score. Okay, so just wait for to compile. When it's done, now if I hit this play button, you're gonna able to see this score will increase pretty fast. So what we need to do, wait for to compile. Okay, wait for to play, hit this play button in the top. So as you can see, is code just running. Okay, so what we will do, we wanna stop this run. Okay, when the player dies, we wanna stop scoring. To do so, firstly, before we add up score, okay, before we add up score, we need to check if the player game object is in our game or not. So if I hit this play button, you're gonna able to see this player game object will be destroyed when it dies. Okay, so in that condition, we don't wanna add up more score to our score. Okay, basically we don't want to do that. So as you can see, player game object has been destroyed from scene view as well as from hierarchy. Okay, so in this situation we don't want to add up score. So what we will do, before we add score, we will check. Okay, so we have to if use if condition, if find object of type. Okay, find object of type which is player. In arrows we have to pass player and make first bracket. Basically we finding this player script. Okay, And we know if I select this player game object, we can see player script attached to player game object, as you can see. Okay, so if I delete this player game object, this player script also gonna be destroyed. Okay, so we are checking if find object of type. I'm gonna go to high score management one more time. So as you can see, if find object of type which is player, and make first bracket, if it's equals to null. Okay, null. So type return and end up with semicolon. Controllers to save your code. So basically, if find object or type player is equals to null, basically means player script is no more in our scene view or hierarchy. We know player script attached to our player game object, and player when player game object dies, player script also just destroy. So player game object becomes empty. Okay, basically this player script is no more in hierarchy or in scene view. That's why we checking if player is equals null. Basically it's no and no anymore in scene view or hierarchy. We typing return, and we know if we type return of whatever you type after return, it will not run. Basically it will stop right there. Okay, so you can do it something like make some curly bracket and paste this return, control X for cut, control V for pasting it. Okay, so basically we typing return, and we know after return this line of code will not be execute, basically will not be call out. So it will stop right there. So score will be stop when the player dies. Okay, control S to save your code. Let's move to Unity, and when the player dies, score adding one unit to score will be stop. Okay, because we type return, and we know whatever you type after return, it will not be call out or not be gonna be execute. Okay, so just wait for to compile and gonna able to see that change. So if I select this high score management script. Okay, basically game object, and hit this play button in the top, and when the player dies, you're gonna able to see this score adding will be stopped right there. Okay, something like this. So as you can see, as we currently have 70 score. Okay, when the player dies at 70 score, it just stop, as you can see. So instead of showing that up over here, I want to show that up in the UI. Okay, over here. So to do so, what we need to create the canvas first. I think we haven't created. Oh, okay, we need to create canvas, and into that canvas we need to place all of the UI elements. To create the canvas, you need to move over to hierarchy first. Okay, right click or hit this plus icon and go to UI, and go to bottom, you can see canvas, so select that. Okay, now we have canvas. I'm gonna drag this over here in the top. Okay, canvas, select the canvas game object, go over to inspector, right. Okay, and move to canvas scaler. Over there, UI scale mode, to select a constant pixel size to scale with screen size, and choose resolution in the X, something like 1920, and in Y 1080. Okay, 1080. Let's click on this to collapse. Okay, to collapse. Now what we gonna do, right, select the canvas. Okay, and F to focus on. As you can see, this is our canvas. We need to place all of the icons, buttons, text, something like all of the things gonna be in canvas. Okay, so what we will do, right click on the canvas. Okay, right click on the canvas, go to UI, and go to legacy in the bottom, and select this text. Okay, select this text. Let's resize this text. So select the rect tool in the right over here. Okay, rect tool, and you can scale it up, and hold down alt on your keyboard to scale it from center. As you can see, we are not able to see our text, so let's make the font size a little bit bigger, something like 100. As you can see, now we are able to see. Okay, and select font style to bold, and if you do have any other font, you can select over here font field. Okay, and let's select both of this center, click alignment to center. Okay, and you can change the color whatever color you want. I'm gonna choose white, something like that. Okay, so instead of new text, I'm gonna set it to 0 over here text field. Okay, and I'm gonna resize it. So hold down alt on your keyboard to resize it from center, something like this. Okay, and go to rect transform of this text field. Okay, go to rect transform and click on this. Hold down alt on your keyboard and select this top right one. Okay, so as you can see, it always be on top right corner. Okay, if I try to shrink down my screen or try to expand, as you can see, the text just resizing itself. Okay, and it just is staying in the top right corner always. So that is the reason of selecting that. Okay, and the text should be over here. So let's move to alignment one more time, and in this time, so first segment, select this. Okay, so it will be over here. I'm gonna drag it over here. So let's type 100. As you can see, it's just going through over here. So that is the reason choosing alignment first to over here in the left side. Okay, from left side I'm gonna set it to 0. Okay, so basically we need this text reference, then we can set this value something like 100, something like 2. It's up to you. Basically we gonna link up this text to our score. Okay, whatever our score, as you seen it was 70, so we will set this text to something like 70, something like that. So we need to get a reference of this text element. Okay, to do so, let's open up our high score management one more time by double clicking on it, and let's create a text field for that. Okay, to create a text, okay, we need to using unity engine dot ui namespace, using unity engine dot ui. Okay, and close that off with semicolon. Basically we know text element. If I select this text, as you can see, this is an ui element. So that is the thing, that is the reason of including this namespace using unity engine dot ui. So let's create an empty field for this text element. Okay, this text. So then we can drag it. So let's make it public, so we can set through inspector that is a text. Let's call this one to score text. Okay, and close that up with semicolon. Control S to save your code. Let's move to unity, and you're gonna able to see. Okay, you will able to see the text will be appear in high score management script. A text field will gonna appear. Okay, and it will be empty by default. So what we need to drag this text right there, so we will have the link up and we can set this value whatever we want. Okay, select this high score management script and drag this text over here. Okay, now we have the link up of this text, basically this text. Okay, so let's go to script one more time, and over here in the bottom, what we will do, we will set score text. Okay, score text dot text. Okay, equal to score. Okay, basically what we doing over here, firstly we just moving over to this text, then this text, and we setting this text to score, whatever the score is. So in the start of the game, score is 0, so this one will be 0. So the score text dot text will be 0. Basically this one will be 0. But let's suppose this one became, the score became something like 10. Okay, so this one becomes 10, so the score text dot text, okay, so will be 10. Basically this one will be 10. Okay, this one will be 10. I hope you get the idea. And we close that up with semicolon, and we get an error. It says, okay, this is an integer value. We know score is an integer value, float value, as you can see. Okay, as you can see, this is a float value, and this score text dot text is a string. Okay, is a string. So we need to convert this float to a string. To convert this float to a string, just what we have to type, dot to string. Okay, and make some first bracket. Control S to save your code, and let's go to unity one more time and hit this play button in the top. You're gonna able to see this text will be update whatever the score we get. Okay, it will be set that up easily by itself. because we directly setting it score text dot text equal to a score, whatever the score is. So this is just we storing the score to this container or this field. Okay, so just control s on your keyboard to save your code. Save your code. Let's move to Unity, and if I hit this play button in the top, okay, hit this play button in the top, hit this play button in the top. So as you can see, score is just popping out over here. It's 54. Let's try one more time. Let's try one more time, and you're gonna able to see that. Okay, so if I make another high score, as you can see, score just getting updated over here. Okay, so I hope you get the idea. So if I select this high score management, so 366 over here becomes 366 because firstly we just moving over to score text dot text, we setting to score. Basically we just going over to this text, then this text, and we setting this text to score. Basically this is score, and score is 366. That's why this one becomes 366. I hope you get the idea how it works. And when I die, scores just stop right there at 499, as you can see, because we type return, and we know after return whatever you write, this line of code will not be execute anymore. Okay, so I hope you get the idea. And lastly, thanks for watching this video.